I have studied war for 60 years. Not the way the soft species study it. Not from behind glass walls in climate-controlled archives, turning pages of sanitized history with fingers that have never known a callus or a trigger. No, I mean real study. Battlefield reconstruction, where you sift through what remains of soldiers. Casualty modeling that makes your stomach clench. The precise, beautiful, terrifying mathematics of how civilizations buckle and break under pressure. The Veth Collective has never lost a war. Let me repeat that. 400 years of expansion. 19 species absorbed into our federation. Some came willingly, with gifts and treaties and relief that someone stronger was finally in charge. Some came less so, but they all came. In the end, they always come. We are not cruel. We are efficient. I tell myself that often. It helps me sleep. So when the human fleet appeared at the edge of contested space without warning, without declaration, without even the basic courtesy of acknowledging our border markers, I was not afraid. Fear is for prey species and young commanders who have not yet learned how the galaxy works. I was annoyed. Deep space is complicated enough without bipedal upstarts ignoring your territorial claims. My second in command, Prexis, pulls up their file on the tactical display. She has 3 eyes and uses all of them to express contempt at the same time. It is genuinely impressive to watch. Bipedal, she says. The word drips off her tongue like a bad taste. No natural armor, no claws, no venom. Atmospheric dependence so severe they suffocate if the air mix shifts by 5%. Lifespan under a century if they are lucky. Homeworld classified as she stops. Her primary eye fixates on the screen. Her secondary eyes narrow. A tertiary one just goes completely unfocused, which I have only seen happen twice before. Both times involved extremely bad news. I look up from my reports. Classified as what? She turns all 3 eyes toward me. The middle one blinks first, which among our people carries a very specific meaning. It means I wish I did not have to say this. It means please do not shoot the messenger, because the messenger is also terrified. Class 7, she says. The room goes quiet. Not respectful quiet, not thoughtful quiet. The kind of quiet that happens right before everything goes wrong. The kind where you can hear your own heartbeat, and you wish you could not. I have seen 2 Class 7 worlds in my career. Both are uninhabited now, not because the species died out, because the species left, packed up everything that could move and fled to orbit, to moons, to deep space stations anywhere but the surface. Because nothing with a choice stays on a world that actively tries to unmake you. Class 7 means constant geological violence. Means atmospheric toxins that should have prevented complex life from ever forming. Means radiation levels that scramble DNA like eggs. Means extinction events every few 100,000 years just to keep things interesting. They evolved on a Class 7, I say slowly, voluntarily. She nods. They evolved, yes, and they sent a fleet. A small one. Prexis tries to sound dismissive. I can hear the effort she is making. Her voice pitches slightly higher than normal, which is her tell. 14 vessels. No carrier class. No dreadnoughts. Light armaments by our standards. 14 ships against the full might of the Veth Collective. 14 ships flying into contested space like they own the place. I feel something strange in my chest. Not fear, not annoyance. Something older. Something my species forgot how to feel a long time ago. Curiosity. What do they want? Prexis reads from the file. Her mandibles twitch. They are requesting passage through contested space to reach the colony they established on the far side 18 months ago. I set down my stylus. I am going to say that back to you so you can hear how it sounds. They established a colony in contested space that belongs to the Veth Collective 18 months ago. without asking permission, without filing paperwork, without even a formal protest that we could have denied for bureaucratic reasons. Correct. And now they are requesting passage to reach it. Also correct. I stare at the tactical display. 14 human vessels hover at the edge of my jurisdiction. They are not moving, not charging weapons, not running scans that I can detect. They just sit there, patient as stones waiting, broadcasting a single looping message on an open channel. We just want to get home. Home. They said home. Not reinforce, not resupply, not conquer or negotiate or demand. Home. I look at Praxis. She looks at me. Her middle eye blinks again. Commander, she says quietly, there is something else in the file. Something I think you need to see. Something in her voice makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Not that I have hair, or a neck exactly, but the feeling translates. Show me. She pulls up a secondary file. Classification level is above my clearance, she says. But the humans, they attached it to their open broadcast. They want everyone to see it. The screen loads. I lean forward. And for the first time in 60 years of studying war, I forget how to breathe. Because what I am looking at does not make sense. Cannot make sense. Goes against every law of combat I have ever learned, every battle I have ever studied, every civilization I have ever watched rise and fall. The humans did not send 14 ships to threaten us. They sent 14 ships to protect something else. And whatever that something is, it is still coming. The negotiation is scheduled for 2 hours later. I attend because it is my job. I have sat through 412 similar meetings over my career. Each one bled into the next until they became a single gray ocean of pointless talk. I expect to be bored. I am wrong within the first 30 seconds. The human representative comes aboard alone. No escort. No secondary vessel holding reinforcements. Just a single shuttle, barely larger than an escape pod, docking with my battle cruiser like it belongs there. This is already unusual. Every species I have ever negotiated with sends a delegation. Lawyers, advisors, cultural attaches, emotional support staff, security details that outnumber the actual negotiators. The Brellians once sent 47 beings to discuss a minor shipping dispute. 47. They needed 2 shuttles and a cargo hauler just for luggage. The human comes alone. I watch her on the security feed as she exits the shuttle. She is unremarkable is the wrong word. She is not tall, not heavily armed, not displaying any obvious cybernetic enhancements or biological modifications. She is compact. That is the word. Like something that should be larger but has been folded repeatedly into a smaller shape than nature intended. Like a spring pushed past its resting point. She moves through the corridor toward the negotiation chamber. My guards flank her. Veth soldiers, trained from hatchlings, armored in ceramic composite, armed with weapons that can punch through ship hull, intimidating by any metric. They step aside for her. Not because she asked, not because she threatened. They just move. One by one, like a ripple passing through water, they shift their bodies to give her more space, more room. I watch their body language on the feed and see something I have never seen in Veth soldiers before. Relief. They are relieved to step aside. I file this under things to examine later. The list is growing. Her name is Commander Reyes. She sits across the table from me without fidgeting. No tapping fingers. No shifting weight. No nervous glances at her wrist display. She checks her surroundings exactly once when she enters the room. A single sweep of her eyes that takes in every corner, every vent, every possible angle of approach. Having done so, she is done. No more wasted movement. No more wasted attention. She folds her hands on the table and looks at me with eyes that have seen things. I realize with a small chill that she is not worried, not because she is stupid, Because she has already decided how this ends. She is completely, utterly, terrifyingly present. Commander, I begin. Your colony was established in violation of the contested space treaty of We did not sign that treaty, she says. Her voice is even, not defiant, not aggressive, just accurate. Like she is telling me the temperature outside or the chemical composition of the air. Facts do not require emotion. You were not a spacefaring civilization when it was written. I point out, the treaty was established before your species discovered electricity. Correct. She smiles slightly. So it does not apply to us. I pause. Technically, legally, she is not wrong. A treaty was signed by 19 species who existed at the time. The humans did not exist, at least not as a known quantity. Their homeworld was a blip on no charts, their star too dim for casual notice. This is going to be a problem. I will deal with it after this meeting, assuming there is an after. Regardless, I continue. The passage you are requesting crosses through 3 active Veth patrol corridors. Military zones. Restricted areas where we conduct live fire exercises. The risk to civilian traffic is, we know. She tilts her head. The motion is small but precise. We map them on the way in. On the way in. 18 months ago, when we established the colony. I sit back in my chair. Let me understand this clearly. 18 months ago, before any formal contact between our species, you flew 14 ships through restricted Veth military space. You mapped our patrol corridors. You located a planet on the far side of our territory. You established a colony there, all without our knowledge or permission. Yes, and now you are asking for passage to reach that same colony. We are not asking. She corrects me gently. We are requesting. There is a difference. Explain the difference. An ask requires a yes or no. She spreads her hands. A request begins a conversation. I stare at her. She stares back. Neither of us blinks. I have blinked first in exactly 0 negotiations over 60 years. I do not intend to start now. After a long moment, she speaks again. You want to know the real reason I came alone? I do. She leans forward. Her voice drops slightly, not quiet, just more focused, because I am not here to negotiate with you. I am here to warn you. My hand moves toward the alarm panel beneath the table. She tracks the motion, does not react. Warn me of what? The message your people picked up from our ships? The open broadcast. We just want to get home. She pauses. That was not for you. Then who was it for? Commander Reyes looks at me. For the first time, something shifts behind her eyes. Something that might be worry, might be exhaustion, might be the weight of something she has been carrying for a very long time. Whatever it is, it looks heavy. There is a reason we only sent 14 ships, she says. There is a reason we did not bring carriers or dreadnoughts. There is a reason we crossed your territory with nothing but light armaments. I wait, because those ships are not the main fleet. They are not even a scouting party. They are the ones we could afford to lose. My blood runs cold. Something that has not happened in 40 years. And where is the rest of your fleet? She shakes her head. You misunderstand. There is no rest of the fleet. There never was. The 14 ships are everything we have. Then what are you protecting? Commander Reyes stands up. A negotiation is over. She has said what she came to say. But before she leaves, she pulls a data chip from her pocket and sets it on the table between us. Watch this, she says. Then decide if you still want to call your patrol corridors military zones. She walks out. My guards do not stop her. They do not even try. I pick up the data chip. My hands are steady. They have been steady through 27 combat engagements and 3 near-death experiences. They do not shake now, but I feel them wanting to. I insert the chip into the display. The screen flickers once, then the recording begins. And 60 years of studying war have not prepared me for what comes next. I look at her for a long moment. The words hang in the air between us, like smoke from a dead fire. She mapped our patrol routes, traveled through them undetected, established a permanent settlement on the far side of our territory, and then flew all the way back and asked for permission. "We are polite," she says. Something moves at the corner of her mouth. Almost a smile, but not quite. More like the memory of a smile. The ghost of one. "You are." I search for the correct word. My vocabulary has served me through 60 years of high-stakes negotiations with 19 different species. Right now it feels like trying to catch water with my bare hands. You are attempting to negotiate access to a route you have already proven you can take by force. "We are not here by force," she says. Her voice does not change. Same even tone. Same calm delivery. "We are here to talk." Yes. I lean forward. The table is cold under my palms. "But you could be here by force." The almost smile completes itself. Spreads across her face like sunrise over a battlefield. "So could you." I blink. She has won something. I am not sure what. I am not sure when it happened. But I feel the victory settle into the room like a second presence, like a third person sitting at the table with us, watching, waiting. We talk for 4 hours. 4 hours of questions and answers. Of maps and charts and territorial claims that suddenly feel less important than they did this morning. Of silences that are not awkward but strategic. Both of us measuring what to say next, what to hold back, what to offer freely, because offering it costs nothing, but refusing would cost everything. She tells me about the colony. 147 humans. A mix of scientists, engineers, and something she calls homesteaders. I do not know that word. She explains it means people who go to a place, not because they have to, but because they want to. Because the place calls to them. Because they looked at a map of empty space and saw not emptiness, but possibility. Her people left Earth 18 months ago, traveled through Veth space without being detected, landed on a world we had classified as marginal and left for dead, built shelters, planted food, established power grids and water reclamation and communication networks. All of it without asking anyone if they could. I ask her why. Why that world? Why contested space? Why risk a confrontation with a military power that outguns them 100 to 1? There are safer options, easier options, closer options. Worlds with breathable atmospheres and stable geology and no neighbors who might object to sudden colonization. She looks at me with those eyes. Those impossible eyes that have seen things I can only model in simulations. Things I have studied in casualty reports and after-action reviews, but never stood inside of. And she says, because no one told us we could not. She pauses. Lets that sink in. Then she says, we do not do well with fences. 4 hours. At the end of it, I grant the passage. Not because I have to. Not because she threatened me with military force or economic sanctions or political pressure. She did none of those things. She barely raised her voice. She never once pointed at a star chart and made demands. Not because of her legal arguments either, though they were good, better than good. She had done her homework. She knew our laws better than some of my own staff. She cited precedents I had forgotten existed, not even because of the colony itself. 147 humans on a marginal world. What does that matter to the Veth Collective? What is one small settlement on the edge of everything? I grant it because somewhere in the 3rd hour, I realized something. Something that has been sitting in the back of my mind since she first stepped onto my ship. She is not afraid of me, not even a little. I have spent 60 years making species afraid of me. It is my job. I am very good at it. I have sat across tables from ambassadors who could not stop shaking, from generals who sweated through their uniforms, from politicians who offered me everything they had just to end the conversation. Commander Reyes sits across from me like we are old friends, like she has already decided how this ends, and she is just waiting for me to catch up. After she leaves, Prexis finds me still at the negotiation table. The room is empty now, except for the two of us and the lingering smell of human air. Their ships recycle atmosphere differently than ours. I find I do not mind it, sir, Prexis says. Her voice pulls me back. I have been staring at the door for 3 minutes, maybe longer. I have lost track. Send a full report to Central Command, I say. Classification Priority 1. No delays. No edits. Let them read exactly what happened here. Prexis hesitates. Her 3 eyes blink in sequence. The middle one lingers closed a fraction of a second longer than the others. That is her way of saying she has a question she is not sure she should ask. What should I title it? She says finally, I think about a species that evolved on a world that tried to kill them every single day. That spread to every corner of that world before they even invented farming. That fought each other for 10,000 years over lines in the dirt and symbols in the sky and somehow kept going. That looked up at the stars and decided those stars belonged to them not because someone said so, but because no one said otherwise. I think about 14 ships crossing contested space without fear. About a woman who came alone to a negotiation she could have won with weapons. About a colony planted on a dead world because the soil looked promising. I think about fences. Title it, I say, The Species That Does Not Stop. Prexis pauses. She is waiting for more, for clarification, for context, for the kind of careful diplomatic language that fills reports and soothes nervous commanders. I have nothing else to give her. Commander, she says slowly, do you think they will be a problem? I look at the door again, at the empty corridor beyond it, at the place where Commander Reyes stood before she walked back to her shuttle and flew home to her people. No, I say, but not for the reason you think. What reason is that? I stand up. My joints ache. 60 years of war and negotiation and sitting in chairs designed for species with different bone structures. I am tired, but it is a good tired, the kind that comes after useful work. Because, Prexis, if they wanted to be a problem, they would have told us. She tilts her head. All 3 eyes narrow. Told us? Announced it, declared it, put it on a broadcast for the whole galaxy to hear. That is what we would do. That is what any military power would do. You posture. You threaten. You make sure everyone knows you are dangerous, so no one tests you. She nods slowly. And the humans? The humans do not need to posture. I walk toward the door, toward my quarters, toward sleep that will not come easily tonight. The humans already know what they are. Prexis follows me. Her footsteps are soft on the deck plating. Sir, one more question. There is always one more question. On the recording. The one Commander Reyes left. She told you to watch it before deciding about the patrol corridors. Yes. Have you watched it? I stop at the door to my quarters. My hand rests on the control panel. I do not activate it. Not yet, I say. Why not? Because I am afraid of what I will see. I step inside. The door closes behind me. Prexis does not follow. She knows better. I sit on the edge of my bunk. The data chip is still in my pocket. Commander Reyes put it there when she shook my hand at the end of the negotiation. I did not feel her do it. That is the part that scares me most. I pull out the chip, turn it over in my fingers. It is small, unremarkable, a data chip like a million others. On it is something that made a human woman cross an empire alone. Something that made her risk everything. Something she wanted me to see before I made up my mind about her people. I insert the chip into my personal display. The screen flickers, and I understand, in that final moment before the recording begins, why Commander Reyes did not need to posture, because the humans are not afraid of me. They are afraid of whatever is on this chip. And they came to warn me. That looked at the vast, hostile, treaty-mapped dark of space and saw not a barrier, not a wall, not a line someone drew and said do not cross. They saw a starting line, a place where the race begins, not where it ends. I have watched 19 species enter the galactic stage. Every single one of them looked at the existing order and asked how they fit inside it. Where are the safe lanes? Where are the protected worlds? Where can we go that no one will shoot at us? The humans looked at the same map and asked a different question entirely. They asked why the lines were there in the first place. Title it, I say slowly. The words come out heavier than I intended. We have a problem. And also possibly the solution. Prexis stares at me. Her 3 eyes go completely still. That never happens. Even at rest, her eyes track movement, track light, track threat. Right now, they are frozen like she is trying to reboot her own brain. ... Sir? The humans, I say. We either need them as enemies or as allies. There is no middle ground with a species like this. You cannot ignore them. You cannot contain them. You cannot fence them in and expect them to stay fenced. I finally stand. My joints protest. 60 years of war, and I am feeling every single one of them right now. I pick up my files. The data chip is still in my pocket. I can feel its weight, its heat, the promise of whatever recording Commander Reyes left for me. And I know which one I prefer. Which? Prexis asks. Her voice is small. I have never heard her sound small before. She has faced down enemy fleets and pirate boarding parties, and one particularly aggressive diplomatic incident involving a Brellian ambassador and a bottle of something that should not have been flammable. She has never sounded small. I head for the door. My footsteps echo in the empty negotiation chamber. The chairs are still pushed back where Reyes and I sat. The table still holds the faint warmth of her elbows. The one where they stop looking at our patrol routes, like they are a suggestion. Prexis falls into step beside me. Sir, permission to speak freely. Granted. She is quiet for a moment. We walk through the corridor. The lights dim automatically as we pass. The ship thinks we are done for the day. The ship is wrong. I think you are making a mistake, she says. I stop walking. Turn to face her. Explain. You are assuming the humans want to be allies. You are assuming they want anything from us at all. She meets my gaze. All 3 eyes steady. They crossed our territory without detection. They established a colony without permission. They sent a single woman to negotiate with a military power that could destroy their entire fleet. What if they are not asking for our approval? What if they are just being polite? The question hangs in the air. I have no answer for it. That is rare. That is unsettling. That is exactly the kind of thing that keeps commanders awake during sleep cycles. Above the negotiation deck, 14 human vessels hold their position. I can see them on the tactical display mounted in the corridor wall. 14 small lights, patient, unmoving, waiting. They have not changed position in 6 hours. They have not adjusted their formation. They have not sent additional messages or demands or ultimatums. They just sit there, silent and steady, like stones in a river, like something that has never needed to hurry. I think about the recording on the chip. I still have not watched it. Every time I reach for the player, my hand stops. My mind supplies excuses. Too tired, too much other work. Let Central Command review it first. Let someone else take the risk. But that is not the truth. The truth is simpler and uglier. I am afraid of what I will see. 60 years of studying war. 60 years of watching civilizations rise and fall. 60 years of being the one who knows, who understands, who predicts. And right now I am hiding from a data chip because a human woman put it in my pocket without me noticing. They know how to wait. The thought comes from nowhere, settles into my chest like a second heartbeat. They know how to wait, because they have been waiting since the first fire, since the first cave, since the first time a human looked at a predator and decided to outlast it instead of outrunning it. Praxis is still watching me, waiting for an answer I do not have. Contact them. I say finally. Contact who? The humans. She blinks, all three eyes, in sequence. The middle one lingers closed. For what purpose? I want to know what is on that ship. I want to know why Commander Reyes crossed the galaxy to warn us about something she could have kept secret. I want to know what made her look at the Veth Collective, at our ships and our weapons, and our 400 years of military dominance, and decide that we were not the threat. Something else is. Praxis tilts her head. You think the recording is a warning? I know it is. The question is whether it is a warning about something outside both our territories, or a warning about us. She does not answer. Neither of us wants to say the quiet part out loud. The part where 14 human ships might be the least dangerous thing in contested space right now. The part where a species that evolved on a Class 7 world might be running from something even worse. The part where we might need them more than they need us. I turn back to the tactical display. The 14 lights have not moved. But I notice something I missed before. Their formation is not random. It is not defensive either. Not quite. It is a line, a straight line, facing outward. Away from my ship, away from Veth territory, away from everything we think we know. They are not watching us. I say quietly. They never were. Then what are they watching for? The display flickers. A new contact appears at the edge of the system. Then another. Then 3 more. Unknown vessels. No transponders. No identification signals. No response to hailing frequencies. Moving fast, too fast. Praxis grabs my arm. Her claws dig in. Sir, those are not our ships. I know. They are not human either. I know that too. The 14 human vessels change formation. Not retreating, not advancing. Spreading out. Creating space. Creating lanes. Creating a line between us and whatever just arrived. Commander Reyes was not lying when she said they just wanted to get home. But she left something out. She did not say what they were running from.